Okay, we are live. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hi.
Awesome.
We have an amazing news for you guys.
What's the amazing
Just
news?
one?
No, not this one. Let me do one thing. I just want to put the Hungarian translation link down here so people can find it.
That's the
Uh,
first amazing news that we have Hungarian translation.
yeah,
Yay.
that's one of them. Um,
That's a surprise.
surprise, surprise. How are you?
I'm great. Just finished an advanced body class. So I don't
Hmm,
know.
I don't know.
I'm like, I feel great. And I don't know what great feels like, but it's great.
Same
That
here.
sort of, yep, that sort
Yeah,
of
no, no, go ahead.
resembles any classes I usually attend that it feels great, but I have no idea what great is.
hmm
It's just... And did you guys realize that every time you take a class, it feels like that was the best?
Hmm.
It's the best one so far.
Yeah, it's amazing. Um, so we're here to talk about out creation, and I love this topic. So we have many questions to you, Andrew. We're gonna just ask you
Okay,
questions. It's a great
great.
time to ask you questions, right?
hmm Pretty much. It's like I'm like, ready to go.
Ready
I'm
to
on
go.
top of it.
So, I just arrived to this live. Sorry, guys, I was just all over the place. I wanted to make it sure that everyone got the Hungarian translation, but it seems like we're good. Um, and thank you guys for coming and have this live. I I I wanted to talk to Andrew. I just really um, like everything you do, and you're coming to Budapest. We're gonna host you. Audrey gonna host you with a foundation class, and I'm going to host you with the SC class. And we thought we would love to introduce you, your work, what you do, what is
hmm
foundation about, what is SC about. But most of, like, more of that, we would love to just have a little chat about out creation. This is in my words, so that I came up with the idea that let's talk about that.
hmm
So what if we just begin to, yeah, would you be willing to introduce yourself? What
Sure.
we have to do about you?
I'm Dr. Andrew Gardella. I've been an Access Certified Facilitator for 13 years now,
Wow.
something like that. I think 13, 14, since 2012. Um, that's 12. That's
12.
12. Yes, there we go. I don't know. A long time for me. And I started off as I started doing Access when I was in chiropractic school, and I just really was drawn to it because of how easy everything was. Because in chiropractic school, it was like all complicated, and like changing the body, you had to know all this stuff. And so it was really refreshing for me to come to an access class and to deal with bodies with the access perspective, where nothing was really difficult, nothing had to be hard. It was actually your point of view that makes all the difficulties and the things. And so it was, for me, I just remember my first foundation class was such a gift, because I got all these tools that I could play with when I was in school and things were being difficult, or like before access, I just thought life was difficult. That's just how it was. You struggled, and you had difficulties, and that was just how it was. And as I used the tool more and more, it's like things got less and less difficult, and they became more about just choice. And like the access mantra is, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And the more and more I do access classes and facilitate and use the tools, I really start to see how much all of my life can be created from ease, joy, and glory. And it's like, we're talking about outcreation. Well, it's like you start realizing, oh, whatever shows up in your life, whether it's like whatever roadblocks or stops or anything, they don't actually have to stop you. You can outcreate them, you can go around them. But before I really started taking the access classes, that wasn't my point of view. I just kind of was like, nope, when something stops you, that's kind of like you know, a no is a no, or at least it's like, you know, if you, you know, meet, like if there's a mountain in your path, then you got to go over it. You know, with the access tools, it's like, well, what if it wasn't a mountain? What if you know, got a helicopter? What if you know, like with asking questions and everything, it completely started to change my life and my perspective on things, to where I started really kind of, one, my life started moving and creating itself way faster than, you know, where, and I just had ease with all these things, which was, you know, really amazing for me. And so that's part of my story. I'm a certified access facilitator, which means I teach bars and foundation classes. Then I'm also a 3-day body class facilitator, which is, you know, if you don't know about a 3-day body class, check it out. It's amazing. And if you've heard of the body processes, it's 3 days of body processes. And then I also teach a class called ESSE, or facilitate a class called ESSE, which stands for Energetic Synthesis of Structural Embodiment, which is the class I'm coming to Budapest. And I never know how to talk about ESSE, because it's not really about, it's like you touch your body, you get your body worked on, but really what ESSE is about is where, you know, your point of view creates your reality, and your point of view creates your body. And if you can start to change and unlock your points of views, then it changes your body and it changes your reality, and it melts all those things. And so ESSE, it's an energy where we look at changing your point of view from an energetic space, and how you're changing your point of view and changing your energy can change the molecules of your body or the molecules of your reality. And yeah, I don't, it's really, and it's just an energy that's undefined, because what we've realized is your point of view creates your reality. So once you take a point of view, that's kind of what you're stuck with. But you don't need to have a fixed point of view. You can see things from a question and have a space, and, you know, always have, you know, like you said, best class ever, or the best, the last one's always the best class, you know, because when you're present in your life and you're creating your life, then you're always moving forward. You're not looking back to the past, remembering how, you know, oh, it was so good back then.
Yeah. I liked what you just said about that you took the chiropractor school and then you came to Access, and everything was just so simple and easy. And that's what happened to me. I hated school so much. I did my best, but it was just like always a struggle for me, and I had to know the answers and, like, you know, follow the rules and stuff like that. And I was like, why life should be so hard? And when I came to Access, I realized, oh, it shouldn't be that hard, and it's just so simple. And I think that's what people really likes about the whole thing, is that it's just so it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, it blew me away with how much ease I started having in my life, and I was like, everything. I don't know. That's the foundation is called the foundation because it changes the foundation of your life.
Wow.
And everyone's spaced out already. They're like,
yeah.
Exactly. You know what? I really like that bit what you said about bodies, that basically you can even transform or change your body based on your point of views. And I just had a conversation today about this, I don't know, shapes and curves and edges and all that. And we started actually talking about what if you could actually change your body based on what you know about how you eat or what you move or when you start to interact with your body. But still, it's from this reality's point of view, it's like beyond imagination that your body can actually change. You can change your molecules and all that. So can you talk a little bit more about the miracle of changing body structures or the embodiment?
Sure. Well, for me, I think it's like, one, it doesn't seem like, you know, we have this idea that changing your body has to look a certain way, right? Like, oh, you know, people are like, oops, did I freeze or did you freeze? Nope. Okay, we're good.
I didn't.
Sorry. Okay. And Nicolette wasn't moving, but now she's moving. So I was just like, maybe it was me. On hotel internet.
Don't worry.
So changing, where do I start? Well, we talk about like point of view creates your reality. Well, it's like so often you have the point of view that something with your body's wrong and it should change, right? Well, there's so many, like for me, it's like I realized with changing my body, one, when I had less points of views about it, it would change. And it's not so much about how I would like my body to look. I'm more asking my body how it would like to look. Because your body has a consciousness and awareness of its own. And so when you invite the body and ask it to become more conscious, it all of a sudden starts to, do that. And for me, I realized so long ago with so many things, that change with access, we have this idea of, it has to work hard and it has to fit this certain way. And there's only this certain way. And then everything else is wrong. And what the gift of the stuff I learned in foundation was, no, there's like infinite possibilities. We always have this idea, especially with bodies, we have like, oh, there's one body type that's beautiful, and then anything that doesn't match that, or is ugly, which isn't true, but somehow like that idea gets propagated. But there's like lots of different people that lots of different bodies that look different, and some people think they're wonderful and some people don't. But it's like they have a used cars salesman used to say, there's like there's a car for everyone. There's like there's an ass for every seat. But it's like the same thing with bodies. But oftentimes we don't have that point of view, or I mean, this can go so many ways, because it's like you have to look at your points of views and changing them. And then, when you change your point of view, it might not even matter how your body looks. Or when you change your point of view, your body will just change based on you not having the point of view and energy in it. And even science, like they have like lots of scientific studies that talk about how your points of views, your thoughts, your feelings can affect, the molecular structure of things.
I wonder, because I was listening to Dane's Profit class and other course, and I just started to have this back pain. It was killing me. At the beginning, it was just like when I moved my arms, I was like, oh fuck, it's just hurtful. And then it started when I was in London, and on the way back, I was on the plane, and it was just like, oh, I couldn't move, and I was like breathing like this, and the guy next to me was like, he didn't get what's going on. And then the next day I started to have this pain without moving my body. I was just like, I just had this pain. It was killing me. I couldn't move. So today I didn't leave home. And it was amazing when I was listening to Dane's Profit, and he said, what potency are you hiding behind your back? And I was like, wow. And it gave me this awareness of not just behind your back. It's basically how many potential and potency do you have with your being, and actually with your body also, that you are just like, how would you say that? Like you just try to
if it's behind you, you're hiding, you're avoiding, you're whatever.
Yeah. And it's just, and for me, I love that this is happening to me, because I'm more in question than ever before, like what my body actually wants. Because at the beginning of the year, I was just looking at my year. I'm like, okay, what do I need to change this year to make my life better? And what came to me is like, hey, start to do, I don't know, like stretching or do a different kind of movement, because I go to the gym 4 times a week, but just, for years now. And I don't do anything beyond that. And my body kept telling me, it's like, hey, do this, do that, like Pilates and do. And I was just like, yeah, one day. And it's just so funny to me when I'm, expecting a different result, but I'm doing the same thing over and over. And I'm doing the same thing. And my body is actually yelling at me. It's like, hey, it's not working anymore. And I'm avoiding it. So it's like so much of those things. And now I see, because I don't have another choice. I have to change this. I have to do something different. And it's just amazing to, have this
Well,
happening.
but the other thing is with that, if we're talking about outcreation, well, it's like, lots of times you look at what you're doing and trying to change what you're doing, but if you have the same points of views, then you're still, even if you like, basically you're going to the same destination, you're just taking a different route to get there.
What do you mean, Andrew?
Well, if
Can
I'm,
you say more?
it's like, if you go from your home to your office, there's an infinite number of ways to get there, but you're still doing the same 2 points. It's like, and so a lot of people are like, they have their point of view, and you know, they are like, oh, well, I'm going to go. And they're trying to get to their other point of view, and they just ping pong back and forth, like,
Mm.
a million different ways, but they haven't really changed the energy. You haven't outcreated your old point of view and chose to be something different. You're just doing the same, it's like, oh, I'm going to change my shirt, and I put on a clean white one, but it's still the same shirt. It's just clean.
Mm.
It's not really, you haven't changed, like, you've made it look like you're giving yourself the illusion of that you change things, but you haven't really changed the energy. And I think that's where the access tools really come into play, because it's about changing the energy, changing your points of view. Because when you change that, you're in a totally different reality, because you got rid of that old point of view.
Can you say more? Like, sorry, it's getting to be like private facilitation. I don't care. I want to know more. Like, sorry about that. But I think it's so true for many people, because it's just what you said is, and in many things, like you can think about your relationships or blah blah blah, and it's just so true. But I want to know more, because it's so true. I started to do meditation today. I was doing some yoga, but how can you actually change how can you, like, how to ask, like, how can you find what's the energy that is not working, and how can you change it?
Well, for me, it's like the thing that I realized with Access, and this is where it's so different with the foundation tools, is we always, like, in school and everything, we're always taught to find what's wrong, and then you go to fix it, right?
Yeah.
Well, but if you're looking at fixing anything, that's a fixed point of view. So it's like we found what's wrong, and we're going to fix the wrong thing to find the right thing. But that's all wrong and right with Access, and with the Access consciousness tools. Nothing's wrong, nothing's right. It's all just a choice. But it's looking at the choices available to you. Which choice is going to create what you desire? And for me, that's really the gift that Access started giving me, is because I started becoming aware of my choices and acknowledging that I was the one that was responsible for creating everything that showed up in my life. And so I started looking at, okay, this interaction with this person didn't go the way I desired. Okay, so what did I choose that created this? And started using the clearing statement to start changing my energy around it, because I realized I didn't know what was not working. I just realized something wasn't working. And for me, that's what I started realizing. You don't have to know what's not working. You just have to know, okay, something's not working here. Okay, so, and then go from there. You can go to a question, because the point of a question is to gain more awareness and to open you up to possibilities. So it's not even, well, oftentimes we try to like jump from one, well, it's like conclusion jumping. Oh, this isn't working, which really isn't a question. And I'm going to go to this because this might work, rather than actually asking questions and seeing. And, there's nothing wrong with choosing things. Lots of times okay, that's not working, I'll try this. Oh, okay, that's not really working either, then I'll try this. And then, sometimes I need to do that to gain make more choices, to gain more information and awareness about what I would like. But oftentimes we have this idea, I know, especially with body stuff, we have this idea a lot of times when we're looking at changing our bodies, the fundamental point of view you have from the start of changing it isn't you're not looking to change it because it's fun to change it. You're looking to change it because something's wrong with it. And if you start from the point of view something's wrong with your body, you're going to, like, that's basically the anchor you're dragging. You're dragging the something's wrong. And that goes with your body or with your life or whatever it is. So it's like, that's the energetic background, it's the energy in the background that, is the point of view that ends up creating everything. So nothing ends up working because you have the point of view that, well, nothing's going to work. but you don't even realize that. And I think that's what the great thing about the access tools and the clearing statement and everything is, because it starts to, it really started to change my life, because it was so easy to just go, okay, I would acknowledge, okay, that didn't work. Okay, well, everything I chose that created that, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, povits, beyond. And I just started doing that with everything that I noticed when stuff wasn't working. And sooner or later, I would get the awareness or get aware of more choices, because I would change the energy, and all of a sudden it wouldn't even be this struggle for me to figure out what I would choose. I would just choose it.
Can I ask something about that? When you said that, I realized that something is not working. What's the difference between something is not working, whether something is wrong?
Well, one is like, wrong is never usually an awareness. It's just like, it's your point of view, because all of your choices create awareness. There's nothing wrong or right about them. One might be something that creates what you're asking for. One choice might not create what you're asking for. There's nothing wrong or right about it. It's just kind of the wrong or right is like, okay, well, I chose something and it didn't create what I want. So that's wrong, right? Well, no, but it gave you more information. It gave you more awareness. It contributed to something. But oftentimes when we make things wrong, that's like all they'll ever be. So you only look from the point of view of how it's wrong. You never look at, what's right about that choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so and the awareness of this isn't working is just like, it's like if you're driving somewhere, if I'm going like Prague to Budapest and I'm starting to head towards Munich, then like, this isn't working. Oh, okay. Well, why isn't it working? Well, because I'm going in a different direction that I would like. So, but again, I mean, you could say you're going the wrong way. Haha. But this isn't working is just, and that's the awareness of what and you just know, okay, this isn't working. Okay. Or, and sometimes I always ask a question. I'm like, when things aren't working for me, I'm like, okay, well, is it working? Yes, no. Which one's later? Oh, yes. Okay. How is this working for me? Or what do I think? I start asking more questions about my points of views, and to start uncovering and seeing what's really being created. Because I know, and what I've learned from Access is everything that shows up in my life is based on my choices and what I chose and the energy I'm, being and creating with. So if things are happening that I'm like, okay, this isn't working, I start looking at, okay, so what choices did I make that created this? And what am I really asking for? Because ask and receive is actually true. And, but the thing is, we often think that, oh, the first thing in our mind, like the cognitive thing that we're asking for is really what we're asking for. But we don't ever look at all this energetic kind of baggage that we have, or the subconscious things that we don't even realize, or the one thought that we thought one time, that's also there contributing to what's being created and showing up. Or it's like I always like the people that are like, oh, I'm asking for this and it's not happening. Well, but you look at what you're saying right there. You said you're asking for it and it's not happening. So what are you creating? You asking for it and it not happening. But, and it's like when I do sessions with people, the amount of times that I'm like, okay, so what is it you're asking for? But it's not showing up. Okay, well, but you're just saying it's not showing up.
I'm experiencing something interesting with people. I had a big online 10-day program with 5,000 people.
Awesome.
And yeah, and it was just interesting because it's brand new people. They don't even know about the tools, but we shared some of them. And it's really interesting to see how much people want to know the answer and understand it and what does that mean. And someone just had a question about the clearing statement. Is like, what it's clearing out of me? And it was like, so wanted to go into that kind of conversation. I was like, I try to make them easy for them. But I remember myself like 5 years. Oh, you know me for years. Like, how I was in Paris. I was just like so much in my head and computing and trying to understand everything. And it was a journey. And I'm still in my head most of the time, unfortunately. But what I see is how much that stops us. Like want to understand and know everything. And it's just so funny to me, because what I'm getting more and more with these tools, that it's nothing to do with that you can't understand this. This is not how it works, right?
Yeah. And I think, it's like for me, it became less like I got more and more aware and I just knew things, but I didn't have to understand it. The other thing is, before I would always look at understanding why people chose things. And the more I did access, and Gary has a line. He used to say to me a lot, because I would always ask, because I would go into this understanding and trying to find the right answer. He's like, look, they chose it because they chose it. There is nothing else to it. We always look for the reason and justification for why we're choosing things, but it's there's no reason why. It's just a choice.
How to drive people? What's the fastest way to drive people to that point where they don't want to understand everything? And how can you just, I don't know, fry their brain out? The fastest way.
I think that's, as a facilitator, that's where it's a challenge, because you just have to be patient and allow people to go at their own pace.
Yeah.
And that the fastest way is to, you talk about allowance, and which is just everything's just an interesting point of view. And so you just have to have allowance for people doing it, because the reason I chose to become an access facilitator was one of the taglines of access is empowering people to know that they know. So I was really at a point in my life where I had in chiropractic school, and just, I was like 25, so I'm starting to become an adult, and I kept having this sense of not really having like the power in my own life, and looking at how I was creating things, but no one was actually really looking at empowering me to like be my own man or choose my own choices. They were just telling me what I should choose or why I shouldn't choose it, but they weren't really looking at what I was desiring. And I think, when I facilitate the classes, I do my best to really look at empowering the people. And how do you empower people? Well, you empower them by asking them questions, asking them choose. Because at the end of the day, I can't make choices. You can't make choices for anyone but you, because you're the only one powerful enough to create your life, and you're the only one powerful enough. Well, you create your life how would you want. If you want to create stops, you can create stops. And it's like there's no amount of effort or energy or tools that I could take to throw people through the brick walls they built. And even if you do throw them over, they just build another one on the other side of it. So it's, it just ends up exhausting you. And I realize that pretty well. I still realize it. I realize it more and more, let's say. It expands. I'm like, ooh, okay. Because so many people, and it's totally fine that you want answers. I've been there. I did that too. I looked for answers. I just made more and more choices, and realized, oh, when I actually started asking questions and using the access tools, my life got easier and less complicated, and I was having more fun. Yeah, I think that's more fun. I'll do that.
Thank you.
It's very interesting, because basically, as you mentioned that bit from let's say the mission statement of access consciousness, saying empowering people to know what they know. Again, an interesting conversation happened the other day when we started talking about knowing and believing. Like, do I believe the tools that they work, or do I know? And if so, how? And I was like, I have no idea. It's just working. And I have now, after a couple of years, I do have proofs, let's say, quote unquote, that they are working, but it's just not something like, not an instruction manual that you follow exactly these steps and this will happen, and step A and B and C. It's just a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And I really like when people ask me that. There's a song, and one of the lyrics of it's a Fall Out Boy song. The best part of believe is the lie. Like, if you look at the word believe, there's lie in it. And like whenever I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, because belief is based on what we talk about knowing is you just know things, you're aware of it. But with believe, you usually have to lie to yourself. Like, I don't have to believe I'm creating my life. I either know I'm creating it, or I know that I'm not creating the things that I would like, but there's no belief in it. like to do the belief, you have to lie to yourself to make it, try and convince yourself something's going in a way that it's not actually going. And like you said, it's like with the tools, it's like you use them and then you get to experience, like see what your choices create. And it's like and for me, when I first started out, and I might be a little bit different than people, but I was just at a point in my life where I was like, okay, I've tried lots of things. Nothing's worked. Ooh, I did bars and I don't know what changed, but I'm happier and I knew something happened. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I did foundation and I was like, weird crap is happening and there's things moving with my body and changing and I'm happy again. And I don't know what the hell is happening, but it's different. And I was like, okay, I like different. And I was like, these tools are so weird, but they also actually worked. And I was like, for me, it was like, I was already weird. I don't care. You can give me like, my whole point of view was always like, I don't care how weird it is. If it works, it works, And I just kept seeing the access tools actually work and knew something was changing. You have that question. You have that question look.
I was muted. I'm like, I thank you. I'm just getting. I don't know what I would do without the tools. Meaning, it sounds like so cheesy at this point, but I still like today. I was kind of going through this whole thing, laying in my bed and having this pain in my body, and was like, I don't know what I would do like 5 years ago. I would go into conclusion, Google what's wrong with me, what's wrong, what's wrong. And I don't see that anything is wrong. It's just something. And my body's loud right now, wants to say something. And my only task to do is just discover what it is and change whatever it takes. And it's going to be fine. And it's just so cool. And I couldn't move yesterday. Like this morning, I was like, can I even just wake up? Like, I was just laying like this. It was so hurtful. I'm like, I can't even move. Like my dog is downstairs. I can hear she's like awake. I'm like, oh, fuck, I need to get up. I don't know if I can get up. And it took me like 10 minutes to just get up. And I was like, okay, it's okay. And then I had a whole day at home and I was just being with the whole thing. And, someone texted me from the ABC class and she said, how can you be in allowance with this? And she was like, that's her takeaway from the ABC class is being in total allowance with whatever is going on.
Well, yeah. And
can you say more? Like, I haven't been to the class, but we want the snippets.
Oh,
Give it to us.
You want? Well, yeah. I think the one thing. So if you don't know what an ABC class is, and it's advanced body class, it's what comes after the 3-day body class. Yes. And the facilitator of the class was Grace Douglas, who is the founder of Access's daughter, and so she was his #1 test subject for all the tools. So the price of that experimentation, kind of makes Grace a bit unique in that she just kind of is effortlessly the tools because she grew up around them. She was brainwashed in the best way, I guess. Not really brainwashed.
Good for her.
I think she just learned from a young age, or maybe she was smart enough. I jokingly say she created Access, because she's the, kids control their parents. So she just got her dad to do all the work and, but she's like the advanced body class really, one of the things that I see a lot is that sense of having an allowance for your body. And Grace is such a great space of just having, willing to just have allowance for your body and kind of what shows up. And it's also, it's having an allowance. It's like having allowance for you because you're the one that created you're the one creating your body. But we oftentimes like have this idea of, oh, there's what I want, there's what my body wants, and they're in conflict. But it's actually just you in conflict with you, and your body's like, what are you doing? It's like, have you ever had like a conversation with your pet or animal and you're upset, so you just start yelling at them and they're just looking at you like, huh? Like they're like totally fine and happy and you're just like really aggravated. It's the same thing with your body. It's like, you're like, how could you do this to me? Body, we have to do. You're having like a conversation with your body. That's really just like you playing ping pong, like back and forth about your points of views.
I'm dying because I did the same thing with my dog.
Oh, see?
She was
Still
like,
psychic.
what do you want? I'm like, why did you do this, Tedros? Like, I don't like it. And she's like, I didn't do anything. I'm like, what's going on? I'm good. I'm my best dog. Look at me. It's so funny. And when I stopped
Same
doing
with
that, so funny. So funny. So you are coming to Budapest. I already put the links to the comment section for you guys. So you are having a foundation class. So you're gonna be here for 2 weeks. So you're gonna have the foundation class. Audrey and Belle will be hosting you for that. It starts on the 23rd and it goes until the 28th.
Six.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 6. And then the following weekend, we're gonna have the SC class. It starts on the 1st, and then it's gonna go until the 3rd. And it's cool because the SC class has the prereq of the foundation. So if you guys want to join Andrew, or you want to join the SC class, you can join. Because I have a foundation class this weekend, and many people will come to your SC class. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we put all the links here so you can find it. And I was just wondering, sorry that I do this in a Facebook Live, but you are in Budapest for 2 weeks. Like, would you do private sessions? Like, we could help with Audrey, so we can help you with that. Also, if you guys want to have a private session with Andrew while he's in Budapest, we can arrange something. And if you want, so you can find me and Audrey either on Facebook, or you can find in the SE event description, or the Alapozo Foundation event description, all the emails and stuff like that. So you can just text us or email us and we can help you with that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exciting.
It is exciting.
I know. I get excited about doing foundation classes because I started realizing how much how much the foundation changed my life, and how much fun they are to actually facilitate, because I got to see people that were like in my shoes when I started.
Wow. Thank you for saying that, because I'm not doing foundation classes because I just do a bars class and then I'm like, yeah, one day that's enough for me.
Well,
and it's and what you said, wow, thank you. Because
but sometimes it's painful to realize that you were in the same place. Like, you're like, oh my God, it's like someone asked you a question and like you're like, oh God, you have to realize I was the stupid idiot asking that question, 5 years ago.
Yes.
But sometimes it's painful. Like, we were just, I just got married, and I'm filling out forms, and we're gathering evidence to help my wife, immigrate to the US. And so we're looking back through our text history of, when we first started dating and stuff. And it's just painful to read those messages, and you're just like, oh God, looking back at it from like, now, 6 years later or something, you're like, what was I like? Because why? Well, you're in a different point of view. You have different awareness. Like, so much has changed in our lives. So like, we read those messages and we're like, what were we saying and what were we thinking? Because now we know each other so much better too. So we're reading it and we actually like know all the underlying things behind the conversation. And it's just like, oh, it was just painful. We're like, we don't have to read that one. We're not going to show those things. But it was just interesting. But I think that's a lot of the times too when I facilitate, and what the gift of why I facilitate in a way is because I get so much more awareness, because I start to see myself and from a different perspective too, because I was like, oh my God, I've been in that place too. And I think that it gives so much freedom.
I'm so
it also
grateful.
makes it more challenging for the facilitator though.
I'm so grateful that you just said that, because my first foundation class has changed my life forever. I remember the words I said. I listened to the recordings 50 times at least. And I know every single thing I asked, and it was just so stupid. I wanted a man. And that was my only thing. I was like, Andras, but help me. How can I have a good date? Like, how can I find a rich man? I hate my mom. How can I change my relationship to my mom? And it's all amazing now. And it's just so funny to go
Yeah.
to look
And
back.
now,
And
now you're the rich man.
and my mom, I have to tell you something. It's just amazing. I just had my birthday, and my mom sent me a letter. She wrote this letter by hand,
Mm.
and she said that I was always so different and everyone judged me. And
Mm.
now she sees that it was my superpower. I was so different. And now she sees that everyone was wrong about me because, all the teachers and psychologists and blah, blah, blah told to my mom that there is something with me. Like she should be just aware of that. And now she's like, there was nothing wrong with me ever. And that's why my life is where it's at, because I have all of this difference that people don't have. And it's just amazing to see, like, 8 years ago, my mom would say, you were always stupid like this. That's what
Yeah.
she would say. And she changed. She never took she took a bars class, but she never took a foundation class. But you changing, people changing around you, that's
Yep.
amazing too. It's just
Yeah.
amazing.
And if we add another layer, besides the text, maybe you want to check the photographs, because I just bumped into some photos from, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and I'm looking, I was like, who's that woman? Is that really me? So it's like, oh my goodness. I mean, the body actually follows as the being is more conscious or whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you for adding that, Audrey, because yeah. I saw we have a group photo from my first foundation class with Andras, and I'm like, wow, who's that person? I didn't see that coming. I'm like, okay, let's just put it in the height section. I'm like, okay, it's just so cool. Wow, thank you guys. That was amazing. I'm so looking forward to see you, Andrew. I love your classes and you are amazing. And thank you so much for being so much in allowance with me when I was in Paris and being a stupid idiot. I'm so grateful. It did change my life, by the way. That was a big choice for me going to Paris to take your classes. And and also my choice, but all those classes, you had the 3-day body class and also the SE class. It was really something amazing for me, and I wouldn't be here where I am at without those classes. So thank you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Budapest. I actually want to invite you for another conversation before class, like sometimes around like mid-February about bodies and SE, if you have some space. And I don't know if Audrey wants to add on something else. Okay, cool. So you guys, we're gonna see you sometimes in February. We're gonna invite Andrew back for another conversation. But for now, thank you so much, and I see you guys sometime soon.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.